Hello, everybody. This is Kyrix, and it's my birthday. Yay! Happy birthday, me. This is just a quick update as to what my situation is. Apparently, apparently my printer is going nuts because the cat sat on it earlier. Yeah. Apparently, that's all this update is. Well, apparently, my manager, who we've been trying to contact since November, is well aware of the fact that we've been trying to contact him and doesn't give two shits. I finally got a hold of him yesterday by walking to his house and knocking on his door. I informed him, "Oh, we've been trying to contact you since November." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. I got nothing to say to any of you. It's all in the hands of the lawyers at this point." And then he just kept reiterating that point. I'm like, "Look, we're trying to contact you to get out of here, etc." Nah, it's all in the lawyers' hands. So apparently we're taking this shit to court. And when we get to court, the judge will be made aware of the blatant discrimination he's done against us. For example, he pounds us for shit the other neighbors get away with. Like, when we first moved in here, my mother had a fountain. She dug out a little spot in the yard and put these things down, these little like mini pools, to make a fountain out of it, and spent about a week or more just trying to get it to be a fountain. And he made her dig it up after several months. I want to point out that several other neighbors have turned sizable portions of their front yard into rather large fountain-like structures. And he hasn't given them any crap at all. They still have theirs, even 10 years later. Oh, second kitty. I'm kind of sitting on your ass. Anyway, we had some furniture in the front yard that belonged to my niece. Not in the front yard, but in the carport. And it was kind of strewn about chaotically, and when he asked us to move those, that was a perfectly reasonable request. We put her little chase, or however you pronounce it, into the house, and the recliner into the room, and I told them put the couch up against the wheelchair ramp, and it'll look like real furniture, and it'll actually serve a purpose of being able to sit. And of course, a month later, he gave us a thing that told us under no circumstances are we allowed to have that out there. Except for the fact that one of my neighbors has all sorts of chairs and birds, and currently a Christmas tree in their carport. Has in her chip for Kisa! No! Get out! He keeps jumping up on the printer. He's not allowed up there. Anyway, they have a Christmas tree in theirs, and my other neighbor, they had basically, this neighbor's husband died, by the way, just a few days ago, the 16th. And I went to his memorial because they were close friends of ours. So I'm not trying to get them in trouble with this. I'm just pointing out the fact that he hasn't given them shit for it. They partitioned off the front part of their carport and basically made it another room, where they go straight from their kitchen to the outside, which is another room and has another door, walls, and everything. And it's been like that for a year or more, and he hasn't given them shit for it. But we weren't allowed to have a couch on ours that served a functional purpose, and even was arranged to look good. That's kind of favoritism. Also, we're not allowed to have a dog, but our neighbor is. Our direct next door neighbor had two dogs. Hasn't given them any shit for that. He's made up lies on his eviction notices, which, by the way, is a hobby of his, is trying to evict us. This is the first time we've actually let it go. And of course, honestly, if we were to give him the rent for this month, we'd be fine. But I want this to go to court. I want a judge to hear this shit. The reason we didn't get him the rent this month is because he refused all contact with us, because we tried to get in contact with him and he wouldn't respond. I even put a letter in his Dropbox, a printed up letter basically saying, "Look, we've been trying to get a hold of you. You want your rent, we want you to do your fucking job." It didn't say it in those exact words, but it said it, basically. And so, yeah, this whole thing's going to go to court. And I'd been stressed out all month, not over the fact that this could go to court, but over the fact that he wouldn't contact us, so I didn't know how this was going to go. So yesterday, for the first time since November, I've been able to relax because I finally know where this is going. So I have that peace of mind, you know? I was going to record the final This Week in Kyrix episode of this year until I realized that tomorrow is Wednesday, the day I typically record it, so I'm going to do it tomorrow, like I normally do. So yeah, that's what the situation is. I'm trying to look into getting a friend of mine to move in with me to get a new place. I'm still looking at a certain apartment complex. But yeah, from the looks of it, we're going to let the eviction process ride out and move out sometime mid-January or the start of February. And that's when I'll be moving. And I'm not pleased about it, but what can you do, really, when you get right down to it? I've got to go through several change of address things. I've got to change my address on everything, but first I have to have a new address. Now, for anyone worried, I'm not actually on the lease, so there will be no eviction on my record. And while my mother is getting evicted, she wanted last month or 2 months ago to just finally be moved into a nursing home. So that's what she wants to do, and that's what she's basically going to have to do. And I'm pretty sure nursing homes don't give two shits how many evictions you have on your record. So she'll be fine. I'll be fine. I just need a little bit of time to work this out. Since I'm no longer scattered on this whole thing, I can actually resume recording things, because that's been that nagging little thing at the back of my head telling me what could happen, that's been distracting me from getting a goddamn thing done. I'm going to try and get some more work done on Alien Isolation, and we'll see where things go from there. But for those interested, I'm turning 32 today, and this whole thing had me so distracted that until the 17th I didn't even realize how far into the month we were, and almost forgot my own birthday. I don't think anything's going on. I might be getting a cake, because literally no one's had time to plan. And pretty much everyone forgot about it, including me, until it happened. So, thanks, Cliff, for ruining what could have been a decent birthday. That's the manager's name. I'm going to dig out the thing and actually mention what his full name is in This Week in Kyrix. Normally, I wouldn't do that, but I'm going to. Hell, I may even mention what park he's a manager of. But I'll probably save that for next year when I actually move out and say, hey, he's here and this is where he is. Not his address, so no one can just send him letters or whatever from me or letter bombs, but if anyone feels to look that up, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not encouraging it. I'm also not discouraging it. I'm more than a little pissed at him right now that he's never had the fucking courage to contact us in person. Except, when he sees me alone on the street, he'll pull over and bitch at me. Which, by the way, is the only contact I've ever had with him face to face. When I mentioned that my neighbor had a memorial service, I was at it and so was he. He stood in the back of the room and he left before it was over so that I couldn't talk to him. So I had to wait 2 whole days to finally get a hold of him. Which, by the way, he wasn't even at the office when I called. He wasn't at the office when I walked up there. I had to walk to his house. It's entirely possible that after getting a call from me, he went home. It's like, oh, there they are trying to call. I better go home so he can't find me at the office. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm getting this resolved. I went to his house and talked to him. So, honestly, given the gross level of negligence on his part as a manager, the fact that he's discriminated against us since we moved in, the fact that he's made up lies about me, that he's put into writing if we could just find it, and the fact that he's never contacted us. He once tried to evict us with a note that said, I've tried numerous times to get in touch with you to discuss the situation that he was evicting us over. I think it was something about how the house looked, the outside of the house. Except that was bullshit. He's never come in person to the house. That was the first letter on that he'd given us, and he's never tried to call us because his MO is, oh, I'm going to send eviction notices every now and then. Not bother to check my facts or anything. Going to send an eviction notice, not be in contact with you. That'll scare you and get you into line, you know? And he's a worthless, cowardly piece of shit. Because whenever, the last time he stopped us, I tried to discuss something with him. He's like, no, you can talk to my lawyers, you can talk to my lawyers. And my response to that is, well, real adults don't need lawyers to talk to each other. It's simple. I try to have a conversation with you. You disagree. I disagree. And we can talk for hours without a single lawyer getting involved. That's how all of my... I've never had to settle a dispute with a lawyer before. And I've had lots of disputes with people. Friends, strangers, neighbors. Not one lawyer. I've managed to get through 32 years without ever needing a lawyer to settle anything. This man can't have a face-to-face conversation without a lawyer. Honestly, I think he's afraid I'm going to beat the shit out of him. And I want to, but turns out I'm an adult and I can settle my problems without doing shit like that. If I could legally get away with it, oh, I'd beat the living shit out of him. Because he deserves it. He's done nothing but harass us for years. Ever since we moved in fact. And it's kind of pathetic that he can't settle his problems like a normal human being. But, hey. With any luck, when this thing goes to court, we'll just tear the shit out of him in court. Because he's fucked up. He hasn't done any of the shit he's supposed to do except stand at his house and bitch at us. And when I tried to get a hold of him, incidentally, he wouldn't have missed his rent if he'd let us get a hold of him and tell him, we just want to sell the house so that we can move. That's all. That's literally what the conversation was. Hey, will you buy the house off us since you own the park? Because I've been told he does that. That's all we wanted, was to sell the house. He never would have missed his rent. Here's the thing, you don't get paid for shit you don't do. You get paid when you get your rent, you get paid for being our manager. When you're not contacting us, you're not being our manager. Anyway. Um Other than that, I wish I could talk more about my birthday, but there's really nothing going on. Like I said, I might have a cake. I might not. My mom had to go to the hospital for a really nasty cold, possibly pneumonia, I don't know. But as sad as it sounds, that's kind of been a holiday tradition that on Christmas time and on Thanksgiving, she goes into the hospital. She hasn't gone on this Thanksgiving, so we lucked out there. But usually she goes in on my birthday. So, as sad as it sounds, that's actually normal for her to not to be here for my birthday or Christmas. Um, hmm. But for the record, this is not a sad or unhappy video, and I'm making air quotes that you can't see on both of those words. This is, for me, good news, because this finally settles the situation that I'm in, to the point where I can get on with my fucking life, because I know what's happening. As said, the court eviction thing isn't really doing anything to hurt anyone involved in it. Well, anyone involved on my end, because my mother will be fine because she wants to go into a nursing home. I'll be fine because I'm not on the lease, so it's not on my record. I'm basically a subtenant in this. I will be able to find a place. It's just a matter of when, because we have places around here that I can rent. And I have people moving in with me, and I'm trying to get another friend to move in with me so that we have the income to cover the rent and such. Or, not to cover the rent. I can cover the rent between me and one other person. We apparently live in an area where you're required to have 3 times the rent in your basic income before they'll rent to you, which is kind of silly. I would think 2 times the rent would be more than enough. I mean, is she planning to charge us? Well, not she. I don't even know if it's a she. I've just always had female managers. So, to me, manager defaults to woman. Maybe that's why my current manager is such an asshole. It's entirely possible. Because at the apartment complex I lived at before, with one exception, all of the managers have been female, and that one exception was a temporary one where the maintenance guy was promoted until they had a different manager. You know? And I knew the maintenance guy. He was my friend's dad. But yeah, what is the manager suddenly going to charge us double or triple rent one month? I don't know. Um, but for me, this is good news because it's finally a resolution. Good news, bad news. News, period, is better than not knowing to me. I would rather know so I know how to react than to wonder and just be caught between, oh, this is good, oh, this is bad, oh, I don't know. Because that's literally the thing that's kept me. I've had no motivation to really do anything because I don't know. I'm like, okay, am I getting evicted? Should I bother making a video this week? You know? And I really feel bad about the fact that I haven't gotten anything done. I've gotten. Let me look. Let me look how many videos. Click, click, click. You'll hear the clicky noises probably. I don't care. It's okay. This is an informal video. Um, games folder, live recordings. I have done 4 videos of Alien Isolation, which adds up to a certain amount of time. Let's call it 3 hours, 3.5 hours, maybe 4 of footage. Yeah. Let's just round up and call it 4 hours of footage. It's not, but it's close enough. It's probably closer to 3 hours. And then I stopped because I haven't had the motivation. Oh, I saw The Hobbit. I saw the final Hobbit. That was fun. No spoilers, but I don't think it was the strongest of the series. It was good. I enjoyed it, but it didn't have as much story. One reviewer that I watched basically summed it up in that this could have been 2 movies. It could have been 2 4-hour movies or something, and it would have been fine. That being said, I happen to like the way Peter Jackson handled these because he took a single movie and made it 3. Again, it should have been 2 probably. But other people are arguing, oh, he should have just made the movie. No, after the way he did Lord of the Rings, if you had seen the way The Hobbit, if he had filmed The Hobbit as it was written, you'd have been disappointed because, from what I understand, there was almost no battles. It was just kind of a journey thing. The dwarves, which were badasses in the movie, were completely a joke and didn't really accomplish anything. Bilbo did all the fighting, I believe. So it would have been a very, very pathetic successor to The Lord of the Rings, the way he filmed it. Because The Hobbit wasn't supposed to be an action-y thing, and he made it one to follow up, because the fans, basically, 2 people would have went to see The Hobbit. People who have read the books, and people who have seen his movies. And while the people who read the books would have been happy, the people who'd seen his movies would have been like, what the fuck is this? Why don't the dwarves have weapons? You know? For the record, I like how he's done it. Granted, I'm not a super fan of the books. I haven't read through the Lord of the Rings series. I got about a tenth of the way through the first book. And I own the third book, or at least I own pieces of it. Over time, it's kind of shredded itself, because I haven't really touched it. I tried reading it, and unfortunately, without having read the other 2, you are immediately lost, even having seen the movies, so I just kind of gave up. I'm like, nope, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to read them all. But I have read The Hobbit, and I've seen the old animated cartoon, so I have at least some memory of it. And I like this better because Smaug, oh my god, that dragon was just... The only word to describe him is magnificent. As in the old school definition of how you would describe a creature like that. I'm a little disappointed that he didn't have 4 limbs. He had wings to act as his 4 limbs. So he was technically more of a wyvern than a dragon, even though he breathed fire and didn't have the stinger tail, etc. He wasn't what I would call a dragon because he didn't have the 6 limbs, 2 legs, or 4 legs and 2 wings. But I'll let that slide just because, oh my god, the look of him, the sound of him. That's a dragon where if I had been in the movie, if I had been Bilbo, I'd probably just died of terror right there. D&D actually has a game mechanic to describe that, and it's called Dragon Fear, where just being in the presence of a dragon, you don't even have to see it, just fills you with dread. And I could see looking at him in that movie. I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, I could see that thing as just inspiring dread without you even knowing he's there. Whereas the D&D movie, which I liked, now keep in mind, I wouldn't put that on the same pedestal as a lot of things. I liked it in a fun, campy kind of way. But let me put it this way: I liked it in a third edition kind of way. It literally embodies what I think of third edition. You know, I don't have much going for third edition D&D. I've never been a fan. I played it since launch. I don't like it. I think it's really stupid. I think it's really poorly done. But it's still D&D, and I love D&D in general. You know, I'm not a fan of Forgotten Realms. Doesn't stop me from playing Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, the Neverwinter MMO, which is garbage, by the way. I've recently started playing it again with a friend, and I'm frequently reminded of, wow, I really hate how this is done. It's done really shitty. But it's still D&D, you know? And sometimes you just get a craving to play D&D. You'd think I would be done with D&D, considering I play 4 fucking games a week up at the local store, but sometimes you just want to play. And that's why I've been playing Neverwinter again. But the movie, the dragons in that don't have that sense of magnificence. They're just kind of there. So, and again, there's a sense of awe, at least if you watch Dragonheart, when you see Draco. But he doesn't project that air of magnificence and malevolence either. And that's with Sean Connery voicing him. But you see Smaug and you're like, oh god, if I saw that, I would just die of terror. Either that or just be completely unable to move, you know? Then again, this is also the guy who's scared shitless of the concept of a T-Rex in a video game, to the point where if I know there's one coming, I will do everything in my power to delay that encounter the first time. I don't know if I've told the story, I probably have, but it's scattered over how many videos. I owned my very first PlayStation game, very first original PlayStation was Tomb Raider 2. Because I had played that in Best Buy at my friend's house. We'd go up to the Best Buy and we'd play the Tomb Raider 2 demo, back when it was new. And when I finally wanted to get a PlayStation for myself, when I moved up to Crystal River, I asked for that game because I had fun with that game. And I also got the strategy guide. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I basically set about 100%ing the game because I followed the strategy guide, because you ever played a fucking Eidos game without a strategy guide? It's a nightmare. And it told me, oh, there's these little dragon statues you have to collect. I didn't know why. I didn't realize until years later the reason, because once I beat the game, I had infinite ammo for everything. I didn't realize that was really, I think, from collecting all those statuettes, I think. I never checked. For all I know, there was literally no purpose to collecting them, but I basically 100% of the game. Well, you start off at the Great Wall of China, and to get one of said statuettes, you have to go into this pit where there are not one, but 2 Tyrannosaurus Rexes. And upon reading that there were T-Rexes down there, I literally stood at the top of that pit looking down for like a half an hour, working up the courage to go down there and fight these T-Rexes. Spoiler alert, these things are pathetic enemies. They walk very slowly, they're incredibly easy to dodge. They're even easier to kill. I mean, there's no effort at all involved in killing these things. I don't think they ever damaged me, even. But the fact that I knew T-Rexes were down there scared the shit out of me. And this is the most irrational fear to have, to be afraid of an animal that's been extinct longer than my species has existed. You know? You know, unless you're a fucking young Earth creationist. You couldn't see the eye roll, but it was there. The Earth is only 6,000 years old. I think we have history going back farther than that. I think Egypt is honestly older than... The concept of the Egyptian people is older than 10 or 6,000 years. We have fucking records of these people. You know? I mean, that right there invalidates the whole argument. But then again, prehistory, aside from dinosaurs, has never been my strong point. For all I know, that's complete bullshit, in which case I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure we have records of people that have been alive longer than that. You know? But, but yeah, just seeing Smaug in that movie. He wasn't in it for very long. He was maybe 20 minutes of the movie. So they could get on with the meat of the movie, which was basically giant action scenes. But that dragon is just terrifying to behold. And it's partly the look of him, the way he moves, his personality, and the fact of the voice they got him. He got the perfect voice. The voice reminds me of Tony Jay in some of his more deep, terrifying, menacing roles. So yeah, like I mentioned all those other movies, dragons, just to mention that it's not enough to put a dragon and give him an amazing voice. There's another factor to it, and they reach that factor in Hobbit with Smaug. That, by the way, that's not to say I don't like Dragonheart, because I do. It's just a different kind of dragon. And just to be goofy, you don't get that kind of menace from Toothless either. He's just so fucking cuddly. There's a reason they make plush toys of that dragon. Which reminds me, I need to see the second movie again sometime. Oh! Fun fact. Hold on a second. Gotta sneeze. Yes, thank you, Cold. I totally wanted that sneeze to plug me back up. Those who have watched me on Daily Motion with this Sukin Kyrix know that I've been fanboying over the new Godzilla even before it was released, and especially after. My HeroClix judge, who has his issues, but again, he is a good friend, he's a good guy, he just can be kind of fucking weird sometimes. And this is coming from me. But he gave me my Christmas presents, and I opened them early. One was Shadows of Mordor, which I wanted to try out. I don't know much about it. He basically described it as kind of a Assassin's Creed style game for Lord of the Rings. He could be right, he could be wrong, I don't know. But I'm in a Lord of the Rings mood, so I'll give it a try. It'll be a blind run. By the way, look forward to that. But he also got me the Blu-ray DVD combo of Godzilla, and I am so happy about that. I love that fucking movie. You know what? I'm probably going to watch that movie when I'm done recording this. I love that movie. I love Godzilla in general, and I liked. I didn't love it, but I liked the original American Godzilla. He was something different, admittedly. He was an attempt at a reboot that just didn't work. Well, it did work, actually. If you watch the cartoon, it was a rousing success. Japan loved it. It's just the movie felt kind of lackluster. And part of it might have been, well, I can't even say the focus on the people. I honestly think part of it was that they changed so much of him, because the cartoon made him more like the original Godzilla. Zilla, as he's known now, officially, was not up to Godzilla's league. And to be honest, even though I liked the creature as it was, in an actual kaiju movie, he falls horribly short. In Final Wars, there's a scene, his fight with Godzilla lasts a couple seconds. Basically, Godzilla tail whips him and deep fries his ass. And while Zilla is very fast and very strong, he's not very durable. As evidenced by the fact that a couple F-14s or F-18s, whatever they were, a couple American fighter jets put missiles through his neck and killed him. And it's worth pointing out, missiles have never hurt Godzilla until that point, unless they were specially designed to do it. These were missiles in his first appearance that were just kind of loaded onto the planes and just bam, right through his fucking throat. You know? So it basically implies that without his speed, that creature would have died a lot sooner. But I love the new Godzilla. He's huge. He's fucking beefy as shit, and he's got this. Where I think I read somewhere on TV Tropes kind of described him as a fucking middle-aged guy who's just trying to get home from work kind of thing. He has this kind of, at the end of the movie he really looks hungover as shit, like, oh god, what did I do last night? Did I rip the head off a giant prehistoric bug? Oh god, I gotta stop drinking. Kind of feel to him. But he also is one of the most flat-out benevolent Godzillas I've ever seen, because if you watch that movie, numerous times he actually goes out of his way to avoid destroying shit. Spoilers for the movie here. There's a scene where the Navy's tracking him, and he decides he wants to go on the other side of the main ship, which I think is a destroyer, could be a carrier. I'm not that. It's been a while since I saw that particular scene, and I don't know my Navy boats that well. But basically, he's been skimming the surface. You can see his fins the whole time. Well, when he decides he wants to go past where that ship is, he doesn't go through it. He dives under it so that he doesn't scrape it, and he didn't have to. And then there's the infamous scene on the bridge where some guy, his wake disturbs one of the boats and it starts firing. So he stands up enough so that his fins catch the missiles, and when the bridge starts to collapse, he grabs it and holds it up for a little while until he finally falls. But for the most part, he and the other kaiju could give two shits about humanity, which is how it should be, you know? But I've rambled on long enough. It's the lack of recording, it really is. If I had done This Week in Kyrix, this would have been a 5-minute video, you know? I promise to try my best, once I get settled into the new place, to keep my update schedule back up. I'll probably dig out the old stuff and start re-uploading Tomb Raider and all the other shit I've missed, because I've got to dig it out of a file right now. And I want to get back on track. And I sound all stuffed up because I am. I have a cold, and that sneeze stuffed me up again. But anyway, to all my viewers, well, happy birthday to me. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. I will do what I can to get shit back on track now that now that I know where I stand again. So, see you soon. Bye-bye.